This is the Dubachi 770, a sports car that has been in Grand Theft Auto Online for many years at this point. And you know what? It is still an amazing looking sports car. I think the front design itself is incredibly aggressive and super sporty. And the vehicle just gets better when you take a look at the side. It's got such a streamlined design, and same for the back. I am a firm believer that the Dubachi 770 is one of the best sports cars that Rockstar has designed and put into Grand Theft Auto Online. Today, we are going to be purchasing this vehicle for $400,000, and I'm going to be reviewing everything you're going to want to know, like top speed, performance, and obviously its customization. So, let's get straight into it. Normally, the 770 will cost you around $700,000, but this week it is 40% off at only $400,000, which is actually a pretty decent discount, especially when you realize that 400 grand nowadays is incredibly cheap. So it might be a decent car for anybody to pick up that wants to save a penny. Let's obviously start off with armor. We got some brakes and the engine. Unfortunately, there really isn't much for customization when it comes to this vehicle. We do have some exhaust designs. We can either have the stock exhaust or do oval exits, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. We can change the lights to xenon, but as you can see, there really isn't much. We got some skirts. We're going to do the custom carbon skirts. We do have a nice spoiler option. We've got carbon wing type 2, then a bit of a smaller carbon wing. We got a high-level spoiler and a low-level spoiler. I'm glad that at least they gave it some pretty good spoiler options. We are going to go with the carbon wing. The carbon wing type 2 looks really cool, but I have another 770 with that design, so I want to have this one a little different, so we're going to go with the smaller spoiler. We've got competitive suspension, transmission, and as you can see, that's literally it. There's not much when it comes to this vehicle's customization. It's a bit disappointing, and it would be really nice if Rockstar did add a bit more to this vehicle, but for now, yeah, it's really not having all too much going for it. But hey, let's change the color to make it something pretty. I haven't painted a car lime green in a very long time, so you know what? Let's go a little bit out of our comfort zone and paint this car lime green, because why not? Overall, customization is pretty much a wash when it comes to this vehicle. It's excusable because it is so dang cheap, but it's still pretty disappointing to see such a beautiful car get left behind when it comes to customization and making it really unique to yourself. We can see my two personal 770s right behind me, one in red and obviously the one we just painted green. I think this car actually stands out really well in almost any color you paint it, whether it's brown or a shade of black, super bright green, blue, or even red. This is one of the few cars that you can basically make it any color, and it's just going to stand out so dang well. You can see the differences in the two spoilers here, and I think both spoilers look equally just as good. So now we arrive to the part of the video that is most important for a lot of you, which is the performance of the 770. And it's actually pretty solid when it comes to the 770's performance, especially when you factor in price tag. First of all, this vehicle can achieve a top speed of 123.5 miles per hour. This actually makes it the 24th fastest sports car in the game. And I mean, sure, that doesn't sound like anything impressive until you realize that there are 104 sports cars available to purchase. So yeah, that's actually pretty good, and it means you'll be able to keep up with a lot of the cars in the higher end of the pack. As well, this vehicle features a lap time which places it about middle of the pack in 50th place. Again, nothing incredible, but it means that you should be able to keep up with really any other sports car, especially on the straightaways. So I think it's pretty impressive, especially when you add into the fact this car is only $400,000. Let's see how the 770 can do on the test track in 3, 2, 1, full speed ahead. I'm hoping the car can do well, because I'm a massive fan of the overall looks and design of this vehicle. Yesterday, I tested out the Ocelot Lynx, which is another car I'm a huge fan of. I like the design and everything, but oh my god, it set one of the worst lap times I've ever set so far, at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So I'm really hoping the 770 does a lot better than that, and maybe a 228. That would actually be pretty respectable. So we'll see what the 770 ends up finishing with, but there's really only one way to find out. We're 30 seconds on the clock so far, and just rolling about the heavy parts of the city. I'm always nervous about these ramps here because there are cars that just randomly will pull out in front of you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But thankfully, we're all good. We've made it through the sketchy parts. Now we have the uphill climb, where we have to be very cautious on cars that roll around the corner that we obviously can't see, just like that silver car. But thankfully we didn't crash, doesn't seem like it affected our lap all too much. I will say the 770 is not the best on grip, and you've noticed that. I mean, every time we have to turn the car a little bit left or right, if it's a little too sharp of a turn, the vehicle just really does not want to stay on the road, which is not a good thing to say about a car. But 770 is still doing strong. We're at 1 minute and 16 seconds on the clock so far, and we're at the downhill descent. We're picking up a lot of speed. Let's hug this corner tight. Nice, okay. And let's cut this corner really tight here. It's always tricky when it comes to vehicles that you will lose traction, because when you start drifting, you lose a lot of speed. A lot of people always think drifting is cool, but it actually is a lot slower to drift than it is just to apply the brakes and make it through a corner. But because of that, you always have to be careful in a car like this not to apply the brakes too hard so you start drifting, and when you start accelerating, you want to make sure that you're obviously not giving it too much gas to then spin out. So it's always tricky with a car that has pretty poor traction, but the Lynx has done decently well. We're at 2 minutes on the clock at this point. We're starting to accelerate back up to our top speed. No major hiccups. We haven't had any problems with crashing or anything like that, so not too bad so far. We are now at the straightaway. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left, and it feels like we're going quite fast, maybe to 125. I'm hoping something around there. Let's keep on going, slow down quite a bit. We're at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, just about on the clock. Go, 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 and done. Okay, I mean, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, almost 2:31. It's not bad. It's not anything incredible, but it's not bad. It's quite a bit faster than the Ocelot Lynx, is what I will say. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my review on the 770, a vehicle that I think looks absolutely amazing, and while it may not be the fastest, it's still actually pretty decent. What I will say is that if you're one of the players who only cares about speed and wants to get the fastest vehicles in the game, just go call out a Sparrow or an Oppressor Mark II, because even the fastest cars like the Ocelot Pariah or a Tally RSX are still going to be much slower than even some of your slowest planes on travel. So that's usually the advice I can give. I like cars because of the engines, because of the customization and overall performance they bring. And this car, it's just such a fun one because of its overall looks. It may not feel that crazy on customization, but I don't know, I'm still a big fan of the vehicle. For $400,000, I think it's a steal, especially because it's actually pretty decent when it comes to performance. So if you're a newer player logging in the GTA, I would highly recommend to pick up this car. And even if you're an experienced player, if you don't have this in your garage, I definitely suggest to put it in, because, I mean, just add it to your car collection. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As I usually say, only 20% of you that watch this content are subscribed, so if you'd like to see more car reviews like this, make sure to click that subscribe button down below so I can give you them. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.